Hi, I'm Lee Iridium. Hope you're doing all right today. It's album review time. So, Degreed and Are You Ready? Swedish melodic hard rock band. Album's coming out February the 11th on Frontiers Records. It's their 6th studio album, 40 minutes and 50 seconds long, 11 tracks. So, my history with Degreed. There ain't too much of one really. Obviously, since I started the channel, no new music has come out from Degreed until now. So that's good. So I'm starting to, like I do, cover as much new music as possible. It makes me listen to new bands. Although this band have been going a good 10 to 12 years now, I believe. I have heard, I can remember hearing their first album, but didn't pursue any more for some reason of their music. I don't know if their other albums are as good as this one, but if they're anywhere near it, they are fantastic. This is one brilliant album. This year is shaping up to be a fantastic year for melodic hard rock and metal. I mean, the stuff that I've heard already, the stuff that's going to come out, I think it's going to blow last year away, and that's saying something, I really do. So what sort of music, in case you're not familiar with Degreed, what are they like? Oh, well, on this album, because I can only talk about this album, there's some stuff that sounds familiar to, you know, their Swedish counterparts on Frontiers. It's, I'd say, Eclipse and Heat especially. Only certain songs, they've got that feel of those bands, and I'll talk about those certain songs in a minute. But they also do a lot different stuff than those bands. They have got something really special about them, and that is a brilliant mix of that sort of melodic 80s inspired stuff, but with some modern touches as well. And I think it's all the better for it. It makes them stand out from those bands. Although those bands I'm talking about are some of my favourites, I'm not putting them down whatsoever. You know, Eclipse and Wet, for instance, came at the top of, right at the top of my rankings last year. I love them. But it's nice to hear a band doing something a little bit different. It keeps your interest, you know, for something like that grips you. And this band do it. The songwriting is absolutely fantastic on this album. And I've just got to say, it's their 6th album, but it sounds so fresh, so exciting. They have got some energy about them. They really have. So it's like, they're not just regurgitating the heyday of the 80s. They sound so fresh because they're giving this little bit of modern stuff at the same time. They sound really original, and I think that, but by also keeping all the elements we love about melodic rock and melodic hard rock. Let's run through the band. You've got Robin Eriksson on the bass and vocals. Also, don't know if you guys remember his solo project last year, Robin Red. It goes under his solo project, was absolutely amazing. Brilliant vocalist, such a smooth vocal. He's just so adaptable on the vocals, and also he's bass guitarist as well. So that's really cool. Really good on the bass, driving rhythms throughout these songs. And I'm going to talk about them individually, these songs. You've got Mats Eriksson on the drums, just fantastic drummer. And obviously Mats Eriksson and Robin Eriksson were on the City of Lights album, which I reviewed yesterday. They do a brilliant job on that, and they do a brilliant job on here. And this album, it gives you something. Obviously, they were guesting, if you like, on the City of Lights stuff. This Degreed sounded quite a bit different than that, especially with that more modern touch. But both projects are absolutely fantastic, and they perform fantastically on both. You've got Mikael Blanc on the keys. I love the way the keys are used on this album. You're talking side by side with one guitarist. You've got Daniel Johansson on the guitar. I love the way the guitar and the keyboards complement each other. I think it's a really good idea. Obviously, they've been together a little while now. Having one guitarist with the keys, I think it's a really important part of the band. It almost gives you more of a sort of, it makes those instruments really stand out. Not too many layers on the guitars. The keys and the guitar work out fantastically together. I love the way it is on these songs. Absolutely brilliant. And you know me, I'm not the biggest keyboard fan unless it's used properly. this is some of the best keyboard playing I've heard, and it really, like, you know, makes my ears prick up when I'm listening to it. And I'm not one to point out keys a lot, but I am going to point out keys a lot on this album. They are fantastic. The guitar work is just exceptional. There's some brilliant soloing all the way through this. There's a couple that really stood out to me as well. But another guitar hero to add to the lists of many brilliant guitarists that are coming out in the world of rock and metal. I do run through my favourite songs. I found it hard to miss any off this album. There's a couple that I've missed, but they're all fucking good. But these ones I'm going to talk about are absolutely exceptional. You've got the opening track, Into the Fire. Now this was the first single, did a reaction to this, but please check out the actual video of it from the guys. It's fantastic. There couldn't have been a better way to introduce this album. It's a rocking song. There's so much energy in it. It's a fantastic melodic hard rock track. Pure perfection right here. What a way to start this album. And then I've seen some comments under their video as well that may be the best Degreed song they've ever written. I don't know, I think there's some better ones on this album, although it's fucking close. So the next track I want to talk about is the second track, Higher. What a track. Clean guitar and a great simple bass line sort of setup, and then you lead to a huge uplifting chorus. Super smooth backing vocals just top off this amazing track, surely a future single as well. Next up is Feed the Lie. The pace is picked up a little bit on this. It's a medium to fast paced track with some excellent frenetic rhythm guitar parts. This is one of them that reminds me a little bit of their Swedish counterparts, Eclipse, a little bit. This is perfectly balanced between that 80s sound and the sound of modern rock at the same time. And that chorus, fucking hell, that chorus. The next track I want to talk about is Radio. This is an amazing track. So a slightly sort of folky element sort of runs through this track at times, but mainly it's sort of rooted in that amazing melodic hard rock that they play. I love the start-stop feel of the track. It gives the sort of listener something to think about. It's not just going through one rhythm. It's a bit stop-start. It's really an interesting listen. The keys are just perfect here. Some amazing melodies in the latter part of the track with the keys, and that folky part sort of comes more prevalent as well. Amazing songwriting. Radio is just an outstanding track. The next one I want to talk about is Burning. The perfect example of the band again mixing that melodic rock that we had of the 80s and their modern touch as well. Heavy guitar with a huge chorus and those super slick backing vocals. An outstanding guitar solo. This one just stood out to me. It's really different. It's just amazing. It's almost mind-bending. Absolutely amazing stuff. Falling Down is the next one I want to talk about. This was a single, the second single. I will save you from falling down. A huge track. Man, that chorus, it just gets better and better each time you listen to it. The song is impossible not to like. I think everyone would love this song if they listened to it. So uplifting. Again, amazing songwriting. That's the main thing here. The next track I want to talk about, maybe my favourite on the album at the moment, is called Lost in Paradise. After a little bit of a synth intro, we get hit by a just fantastic track, a Dokken-esque riff, hits hard before we go into an absolutely killer stomp of a song, and then another huge melodic chorus. I'm just blown away by this track, Lost in Paradise. Maybe my favourite track at the moment. The next track I want to talk about is Turn Back. Surely another single, although I feel it has a similar sort of tone and structure to Falling Down, so maybe they won't choose it as a single. Great use of keys, piano that just oozes class. that chorus, man, it's just too huge. There's some amazing choruses, some of the best choruses I've ever heard. We Will Win is the next track I want to talk about. Again, I'm getting those Eclipse stroke Heat feels a little bit here, especially that banging riff at the beginning. There's a stomp again with this track. There's a stomping feel. I love the way the song doesn't fuck around as well. It's straight out of those great verses into another huge chorus. No sort of build up. It's just bang, it's there. One of the many highlights on this great album. And the last track I want to talk about is the last track on the album, called Desire. A bit of a poppy sort of intro, takes you sort of unawares at the beginning, then the band kicks in heavy, but then it sort of flirts in and out of that sort of pop sensibility again. Chorus is quite heavy though, and it's another fucking great chorus. Slightly folky feels again. Top off an absolutely amazing last track. Guys, I knew this album was going to be great from the 2 singles that I heard. It gives you something different, but has all that melody that you want. All you guys who watch this channel, and you know, I talk shit about all the brilliant 80s music and the long lost 90s stuff that I missed out on, and all the great bands now. They're brilliant. Degreed give you something a little bit different to think about with that slightly modern touch, but it's all so melodic and sounds so huge. An absolutely great album coming out February the 11th. Are you ready? I am. I've already fucking heard it and I can't believe how good this album is. Degreed, are you ready? Let me know if you're going to pre-order this album. This is a stomper, guys. Let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you next time.